Championship Wrestling. I'm your new host, Matt McCormick, and if you joined us last week, you already know that we've been taking a look back into West Virginia wrestling history. So let's once again go to the ring and check out some action.
Contest featuring the Cuban Assassin versus the Kamikaze Kid. Kamikaze Kid new to Apex. This is his debut here in September to Dismember, but the Cuban Assassin with a new look, a clean-cut look. He is a veteran not only to the sport, but at AWA Apex, a three-time tag team champion, but having his words at ringside with the fans who are all over him as usual for his pro-Castro, pro-Cuba views. And the Kamikaze Kid, who I've seen before, who's an outstanding athlete, he is everything his name lives up to be. He is a kamikaze. I mean, he will fly through the rafters, he will flip, he will flop, and he has that great lucha libre style going against the Cuban Assassin. Collar and elbow lockup, and the Cuban showing the decided strength advantage early on, saying that he's nothing, and the crowd is livid here. Kamikaze Kid, welcome to the American Wrestling Association. Of course, the Kamikaze Kid I saw in that lightweight championship tournament in Burlington last year. Duck underneath on a full arm drag. The Cuban delivering those blows into the shoulders. Roll over. Back. Cartwheel. And a reversal. Kamikaze Kid. Now he's laying those blows in on his own. As the Kamikaze Kid puts that deep arm bar on the Cuban Assassin, and the Cuban, he looks a little worse for wear here. Picks him up, shows that strength. Beautiful fireman's carry into the reverse, just as we said that he was on the underside. What a great second-generation grappler showing his skills. Of course, going back to his roots, going back to those grappling roots. And the Cuban looking good now, going to town, going to work on that arm. Of course, the Cuban, a second-generation wrestler, like we said, his father, the original Cuban Assassin. He's kind of got away from those molds of his father, kind of taking on his own persona now, if you will. But it's still an accomplished grappler as the crowd getting behind the Kamikaze Kid. Wrestling action, September to Dismember. Reversal, Kid with a headlock. Headlock takeover. Beautiful, beautiful. Cuban rolled him over for pinning a combination, but Kamikaze remaining in that hold. Jockeying for position. Fires him off. Big tackle by Kamikaze. Drop down in front. Going for the hip toss. Reversal. Kid off the rope, drop down again. Leapfrog. This kid's quick. Beautiful arm drag, there's the speed. Another deep arm drag. This kid can go. This kid can wrestle. Kamikaze Kid, and the fans are loving it. Dropping that knee in. Spinning, twisting himself in midair, putting more focus on that arm. Arm bar now. Acevedo back up, trying to work to his vertical base. Taking his opponent into the corner. Has a handful of masks, it looked like, behind, out of the view of referee Eric Colston. Delivering those forearms, those punches. You can hear him here in the booth. Big turnbuckle, follows him in, catches a boot of his own. Kamikaze down, clothesline, putting Richie down. Another big clothesline by Kamikaze. The Assassin, Richie Acevedo, back to that hold. That's a mark of a champion. Back into that arm drag. The kid has impressed me here in his debut in September to Dismember. 5 minutes gone in this contest. Claiming that he pulled his hair at the halfway mark of this bout. giving him a knee for his trouble, backing his opponent in. I mean, this wily veteran, as good and as quick as this kid is, you know, Acevito's a veteran. Big boot, put his head down, and a clothesline of his own. And a stomp, and now he goes to work, and this is where the Cuban is the most dangerous. Right here, going to town. He's got his opponent down and prone, wore out, going for a suplex. Big suplex. Shout now, Viva La Cuba. 1, 2. Almost a 3 count, but he didn't hook a leg. You've got to hook a leg here in the American Wrestling Association. Making his opponent carry his own weight with that rear chin lock. Not only does he have to work from the down position, but he also has to carry his opponent's weight. He's got to get himself up to that vertical base. The fans rallying behind him, and that's exactly what he's done, laying those elbows in. Acevito put his head down now. Sunset flip. 1, 2. It could be. No. Boot to the midsection. Small package inside cradle. 1, 2. Oh, I thought he had him right there. Driving his man back to the corner, using that momentum. Climbing up now. Calling for the approval of the fans. That might be some wasted time. Laying those punches in there. Reversal. Going for the double sledge. Rolls him up. This could be it. 1, 2. Oh, my. I thought that was it. I thought that was it right there. And again to the buckle. Another charge. Catches him that time with the clothesline. Follows him in. Going for that suplex again. Drop behind. Drop behind. What's he going for here? Another kick. Setting him up for a maneuver. Big DDT. This could be it if he can follow up, get that pinning camp on him. But he's setting him up for another move. I disagree with the kid in that predicament. I believe he should have went for the pin. He's given too much time. I know he's all about high risk, and if he can capitalize on this. Big spin, beautiful move. Nobody home. Nobody home. Both men down. Both men down. Kamikaze Kid with a beautiful maneuver, but Acevito managing to get out of the way. Scoops him, slams him down, saying that it's over. Now the Cuban Assassin, Acevito, going to the top rope. He'll come off, maybe going for that Cuban Missile Crisis. If he nails it, it's up. And there it is. There it is, the Cuban Missile Crisis. And there you have it.
You know, Brian's always been good on the stick ever since I've known him.
He was creative from the time he could walk.
the list of guys that Brian has been in the ring with is unbelievable.
Underrated.
Yeah, he'd tag you every once in a while when he didn't have glasses on, but
He's intimidating to some people sometimes because he's such a big guy. He comes at you, he's loud.
I think he's a little overinflated, a little bit, self-inflated a little bit, and you know, that's pretty much my opinion of it.
Connecting with the steel chair. This is one of the wildest matches in West Virginia wrestling history. This is a match that people and fans and fans alike and promoters of wrestling have talked about for years. Scotty McKeever and myself have fought all over the Mountain State. As you see there, Scotty McKeever busted wide open, and I am relentless. This is probably my biggest feud in West Virginia history. As far as ego, vendetta goes, as far as two guys who just absolutely love to fight each other, Scotty McKeever and myself facing each other many times. He is one of my favorite opponents just because of the heated blood feud between the two of us. You see the fans on their feet at ringside. Scotty McKeever, a mess, ramming into several objects at ringside, including the steel pole right there at the ring. You know, several kids at ringside. As you see his manager, the illustrious Chuck Jones, throwing a trash can in the ring now as I'm zeroing in this street fight, delivering these big left hands and a right to the top of Scotty McKeever. Of course, I was multiple-time U.S. U.S. heavyweight champion. Scotty McKeever also multiple-time U.S. heavyweight champion. All-Star Wrestling and the U.S. title grew out of APW. Promoter J.D. Roddenberry left APW, started his own company, which grew into All-Star Wrestling, which eventually became Blue Ridge Wrestling Promotions. As you see, Scotty McKeever delivering blows with that trash can to my skull. Fans, this is a wild one right here in Spanisburg, West Virginia. U.S. title on the line in a street fight. And it seems like we're spending more time outside the ring than we are inside the ring. And McKeever ramming my head onto the stage area there at ringside. And I believe I'm busted open. I believe you can see the blood flowing from my face. Now, in a street fight, it's a come-as-you-are affair. As you see, we're wearing blue jeans and T-shirts because anything can go. I'm, of course, wearing cowboy boots. I feel just as home in cowboy boots. Scotty McKeever going for a pile driver, the dreaded pile driver. That's banned in most contests, but not in this no-hold-barred affair. But managing to counter into the backdrop right on the hard wood surface of that stage. Wobbling towards the end, getting close to the edge. Oh, managed to stop and not fall. That could have been detrimental if I would have fell off of the stage right there. And delivering that big cowboy boot into the head. Of course, you know, anybody that owns a pair of cowboy boots know how hard the soles of the cowboy boots are. Of course, this is a blood feud. Me and Scotty McKeever, this is a culmination of many battles and weeks of frustration and weeks of bleeding and fighting all over the state of West Virginia, throughout Princeton, Bluefield, and southern West Virginia. And you see I'm pulling his shirt off so I can get to that exposed chest, also using the shirt as a weapon. Remember, fans, anything goes in this come-as-you-are street fight, almost reminiscent of a bunkhouse brawl, if you will, a combination of just anything goes. McKeever back onto the advantage, cutting me off, rolling me into the ring. trying to go to the top rope, but I seem to see him out of the corner of my eye, giving him a big right hand. Huge body slam. Both men are staggered. Both men are wounded. Both men are tired. But there you see me with the trash can held high, right into the exposed back of Scotty McKeever. And again onto the head. The fans here in Spanisburg, West Virginia on this very night, loving the mat action. They sure did get their money's worth. As I have the lid to the trash can, boot to the midsection, but he managed to block it out of my hand before I could hit him with it, but still to the advantage with a blow. And I deliver a huge DDT onto the top of the trash can lid. Fans, this hardcore style, if you will, this street fight, anything goes, using object, using furniture, lateral press, but manages to get his foot on the ropes. As you see there, Chuck Jones, the illustrious one at ringside, always with Scotty McKeever. I think that was one of the advantages McKeever had and why the blood feud went so long. Not only was he an irritant at ringside, but he was also the financial and mental guidance to Scotty McKeever that just kept him as one of the top competitors in the industry. And still to this day, Scotty McKeever, a West Virginia wrestling legend. As you see, I reverted to a low blow. But things will go as they will in this no-holds-barred matchup, taking a belt off and just whipping him into the small of the back, trying to gain the advantage, trying to wear him down, but also trying to gain revenge. And also, big backdrop, trying to gain the victory so that I can finally wear that coveted United States Championship around my waist in All-Star Wrestling. As you see, I'm riding him down and choking him with my belt. Scotty McKeever, worse for wear. I tell you, what a great match this is. One of the wrestling classics from the state of West Virginia. As I'm taking the buckle now and digging it into the exposed cut, the bloody laceration of Scotty McKeever. Irish whip into the ropes now. And again, clotheslining and choking him down with my belt. Lateral press. But somehow, Scotty McKeever manages to get out. You know, we've had many bouts in our career, and a lot of them were long bouts, and we liken the feud, if you will, reference the feud to like a Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair matchup, to where it's a long, drawn-out process. The matches would go well.
World TV has now become the producers of Championship Wrestling, and over the next few weeks we are going to reboot the show that you formerly knew. Starting this summer, Logan's World TV and Championship Wrestling will be bringing a brand new, exciting brand of professional wrestling to your area. But more on that later. Stay tuned to logansworldtv.com and this network for more information. Until then, let's go back to the ring for some more action.
Contest is scheduled for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing first from San Antonio, Texas, 220 pounds, El Fluigo, Jesse Ortega. His opponent from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 210 pounds, TJ Mack. One fall, 10 minutes.
Well, we have two young studs of the American Wrestling Association. As you see the collar and elbow tie-up, TJ Mack, a former tag team champion of the world, one half of Mack Action, going against El Fuego, Jesse Ortega. Jesse Ortega, not a stranger to the American Wrestling Association, a top competitor in the Shooting Star Division, the most highly contested match. And this is a Shooting Star Division matchup right here. And the crowd behind TJ Mack. TJ Mack, of course, brother of Kirby Mack, the reigning lightweight champion of the world. Of course, we'll see him later in our program. Collar and elbow, jockeying for position. TJ, the smaller, lighter of the person, but Jesse laying it in there. Now, Jesse works that American strong style, that big deep arm drag right there, showing the quickness. Follows it up with another. And going to the working on the arm. Going for a Russian leg sweep. Ortega blocks it, going to the rope. Jesse Ortega works that American strong style, that submission style. He's like a tank in there, well-versed in submission. He's got that low center of balance, but he also has got the quickness. But I believe TJ Mack has the advantage in the quickness department, whereas Jesse Ortega definitely has it in the strength department, I believe. Slapping away as the crowd again bothering. You know, the crowd gets in the heads of some of these athletes out here, and he's really jawing with Jesse Ortega, as we saw earlier with the Cuban Assassin, because the Cuban Assassin was able to overcome. I wonder if Ortega is able to overcome. Collar and elbow drives it in there, laying those blows in there. You can really hear it. Ortega all over him. He is all over him, driving those forearms and those stick give. Big forearm shiver. Up and overhead scissors. Ortega going for the ride. TJ Mack following him in. Look at that front chancery. Maybe going for a tornado DDT. Driving that in there. Driving that forearm. Going for the DDT. And connects. Took a lot of time, but he connects. Of course, both of these kids, young rookies in the business. I mean, they've been around a couple years. They're not rookies, so to speak, but they're not exactly seasoned veterans either. But they're going at it tooth and nail here. The Shooting Star Division, AWA Apex. Big kick. Of course, both of these guys are contenders to the lightweight title. Of course, like I said earlier, Crazy K Kirby Mack is TJ's brother, of course, top contender. And also, as you see, Ortega standing on the face, if you will. Both guys top contenders to the Shooting Star title, held by Jason Kincaid, who incidentally later on will face. Stiff kick to the back as you hear go the crowd crying out. Of course, Jason Kincaid facing Crazy K later on. Implications in the Shooting Star Division and the lightweight division of the American Wrestling Association. As a flurry of kicks trading back and forth, both men letting it all hang out. Pinned him, deep sits, 2, and TJ into the ropes. The stars of the American Wrestling Association, the stars of Apex Wrestling, duck under on the twist, drop toe hold, Ortega down in a prone position. One half of Mack Action, springboard in, drop kick. Ortega prone. Springboard in earlier, hooks that leg, 1, 2, and almost a 3 count. This match, quick-paced, hard-hitting. That's what the Shooting Star Division, it's a Guri. That's what the Shooting Star Division of AWA Apex is all about. The American Wrestling Association. Going for that deep waist lock, maybe jockeying for a suplex. Going for that German, blocked by TJ Mack. Reversal, inside cradle. 2, almost. And a devastating clothesline.
5 minutes gone in this contest, 5 minutes.
He really took his head off there with that clothesline. I'm sure he's seeing stars there, delivering that blow. But he's firing back with that chop, laying it in there, really laying it in there, slapping a little leather. There's nothing holding back here at the American Wrestling Association. Really going at it, going tooth and nail. As we're being joined by Dale Gagne, president of the American Wrestling Association.
I'm
here
sorry
in the
I know that
booth.
this was unplanned, this was unscripted, this wasn't part of the whole show deal, but I had to come up here, Brian, real quick. You're taking a look at two of the strongest performers, the wrestlers, the athletes that we have right now in the light heavyweight division. Jesse Ortega, who has just come so close to winning that light heavyweight championship, as well as winning the recent Trophy Cup there, the Johnny Weaver Trophy Cup down in the CWF, AWA, CWA. I can't keep it all straight.
It's so exciting. I mean, it's nonstop action here in the American Wrestling Association.
You know, TJ, the brother of Kirby Mack, the current AWA World Light Heavyweight Champion, he's been in that shadow of his brother. He's got to go out there now. He's got to prove that he can stand on his own. And right now, he's holding his own.
I tell you saw those brutal kicks to the back of the neck. I got to look into the eyes of Jesse Ortega, and he is a beast. He's in a small package like a rhino, but he is a beast with that American strong style.
Well, you know, one of his trainers was the Gemini Kid down in CWF, somebody that he looks up to, and now he's putting him. This could come into a submission.
Could be a submission maneuver. Jesse Ortega, El Fuego, adapting that submission maneuvers
behind the neck. You know, if TJ can't get to the rope now, Jesse is pushing off the ropes. The referee's not in the position to see this, and
that's it.
Taps. You know what? I've got to give my hats off to Jesse Ortega. I mean, take a look at the tenacity of this kid. This kid had an opportunity. He knew how to seize on it. You know what? If they don't see it, it doesn't matter.
This has been just a taste of some of the great matches in West Virginia wrestling history. And be sure to join us next week as we take one more step closer to a brand new era of mat action in West Virginia. Again, I'm your host for Championship Wrestling, Matt McCormick. We'll see you next week, and until then, may the good news be your news.